So we stopped at chapter 14, verse 3, and we discussed quite a bit what it means. This Hiranya Garbha, which is growing within Mahadhyoni of Samam Brahma. Mama Yonir Mahad Brahma Tasmin Garbham Dadham Yaham Sambhavak Sarma Bhutanam Tato Bhavati Bharata. My yoni, my location, my holding environment is great Brahman spirit. Tasmin, in him, into him, Garbham Dadham Yaham, I establish the seed. Sambhavak Sarva Bhutanam, and of all the beings, Sambhavak, the beginning, or the birth, Tato Bhavati, from that conception appears, O Bharatam. So my womb is the Mahad Brahman. Into that I cast the seed, thence spring all beings, O Bharata. And there is an interesting reference to persistent still in existence and are not born in the creation. So what is the immortality? How Sri Aurobindo interprets immortality? We spoke about this already. I spoke in my words. Now we will read what Sri Aurobindo says. To be immortal was never held in the ancient spiritual teaching to consist merely in a personal survival of death of the body. All beings are immortal in that sense, and it is only the forms that perish. So we are already immortal, but what is the immortality of the soul? The souls that do not arrive at liberation live through the returning eons, all exist involved or secret in the Brahman during the dissolution of the manifest worlds and are born again in the appearance of a new cycle. To be immortal in the deeper sense is something different from this survival of death and this constant recurrence. Immortality is that supreme status in which the spirit knows itself to be superior to death and birth, not conditioned by the nature of its manifestation, infinite, imperishable, immutably eternal, immortal, because never being born, it never dies. The divine Purushottama, who is the Supreme Lord and the Supreme Brahman, the Supreme Lord 1 and Supreme Brahman 0, which supports the one, possesses forever this immortal entity and is not affected by his taking up a body or by his continuous assumption of cosmic forms and powers, because he exists always in his self-knowledge, in this self-knowledge. His very nature is to be unchangeably conscious of his own eternity. He is self-aware without end or beginning. He is here the inhabitant of all bodies. But as the unborn in every body, not limited in his consciousness by the manifestation, not identified with the physical nature which he assumes, for that is only a minor circumstance of his universal activized play of existence. Liberation, immortality, is to live in this unchangeably conscious eternal being of the Purushottama. This is a big statement because Purushottama is beyond being and non-being. So we need to acquire his consciousness to be aware in this world and that transcendental world of our unchanging consciousness. But to arrive here, at this greater spiritual immortality, the embodied soul must cease to live according to the law of the lower nature. It must put on the law of the divine supreme way of existence, which is in fact the real law of its own eternal essence. In the spiritual evolution of its becoming, no less than in its secret original being, it must grow into the likeness of the divine. And we spoke about this sadrishyam, the likeness of the divine. Sayujyam, these three terms he is developing. Sadharmyam, Sayujyam, and Sadrishyam. So this is something about immortality which is uniquely presented here as the consciousness of Purushottama, who views both Diti and Aditi, as it is said in the Veda. There is that throne, the poise, from which we can view both simultaneously, the unborn self and born self, the Vidya and Avidya. We can experience both at the same time. And that is that consciousness we have to acquire to be immortal and to be free from birth and death in proper sense. That means we are not losing ourselves. We are not becoming part of the machinery. We are doing it at will, at our own will. We are born. Yeah? So we are never born. Being born, we are never born. All right. If you have something to add, please just start speaking because I'm not really seeing your pictures. Switch on microphone and say words that we will hear. Okay. And now we are moving into this Jnana Yoga. Sarvayonishu kaunteya murtayah sambhavantiyah tasam bharma mahatyonir aham bija pradav pita. So among all the yonis, among all the contexts, houses, wombs, or kaunteya, all the murtayas, whatever the embodiments can take place, of them Brahman is the Mahadhyoni, is the great location. And I am the father giving the seed. So he is the father providing, he is that one who provides the oneness, the uniqueness of each individual here. Today we had Rig Veda, and we read passage from Savitri, where in the description of the supermind, he ends with these words of that everyone, every being, every creature, every form in this manifestation becomes representative of him who is one and unique. This uniqueness is the great characteristic of the soul, which is carrying the stamp of the Purushottama. So that is the seed given to this Mahadhyoni, to the context in which all the relations will be determined. But that unique being is still there. The one within the zero, manifesting all the numbers, is constantly there. So this is the vision of the world. And now he comes to the gunas. Sattvam rajas tama iti gunah prakriti sambhavah. There is sattva, rajas, and tamas. These are the gunas which appeared from prakriti, which came out or were born by prakriti, born of prakriti. Nibadhananti mahabaho dehe dehinam avyayam. And the one who is in the body, who is imperishable, they bind him. Nibadhananti, binding him down, the imperishable dweller in the body. So simply bind in the body. But nibadhananti, it's kind of binding down, kind of holding him back, yeah? From his freedom of movement, from his flight to the sun. He has to be held down to the earth, down to earth. So the three gunas born from Prakriti, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas bind in the body, O great armed one, that is Arjuna, the imperishable dweller in the body. Tatra sattvam nirmalatvat prakashakam anamayam sukha sangena badhanati jnana sangena chanagha. There, sattva, because of its purity or absence of mixture or absence of dirt, as it were, prakashakam is luminous. Anamayam is free from any residue, or free from disease. Later in Ayurvedic terms, we will translate it anamaya as free from disease. Literally free from ama, from the residue, from that which was not digested by the fire. That which becomes later the poison in the body and kills the body. So sattva is, because of its nature of freedom from mixture or freedom from dust, dirt, is luminous and free from residue. Sukha sangena badhanati, it binds the one by the attachment to happiness. So we can be bound by happiness also. Jnana sangena chananga, and binds him with knowledge. So knowledge and happiness is the bondage in a way.
Yeah.
It makes
Interesting.
totally sense, you know. We love to be happy and to have knowledge. Yeah? So there we are bound. If you love it, if you want to be in it, you have it. We will stay there forever. A prisoner of Prakriti. Then about Rajas. Rajo ragatmakam vidhi. No, the Rajaguna is the one which has raga. So Rajas, thou know, has for its essence attraction of liking and longing, raga, from root raj, actually, from which rajas is produced, yes, flaming, shining, and but in a different way, in the vital way, vitalistic way, as attachment of liking and disliking. So raga, kala also, ragatmakam, it is of the nature of the color, coloring, vidhi, no, trishna sangha samudbhavam, which appeared from the attachment to trishna, to the desire. So Shabendra says it is a child of the attachment of the soul to the desire of objects. Tanni badhanati kaunteya, that is binding, O kaunteya, karma sangena dehinam, with attachment to the action. So the Rajaguna binds the dehinam, the one who is in the body, the immortal spirit, by attachment to the action. So that's why in the section of Karma Yoga, he said that the greatest enemy is Kama, Kama Rupa Durasadam. Yes. Kill Kama, kill Trishna is another word for Kama. Yeah? Desire. Desire is the greatest enemy because it creates the the consequences for karma. It creates karmic consequences, yeah, through action, through attachment to activity. And then tamas tu ajnana jam vidhi. And no tamas is that which is born from the ignorance, mohanam, bewildering, sarvadehinam, of every one who is in the body. Pramada alasya nidrabhih, by the pramada, alasya, and nidra, tannibadhanati bharata. It binds the dehinam, the one who is in the body. So pramada is, Shubhendra gives his own words here. It binds by negligence, indolence, and sleep. It's closer to our course on sleep, yeah? Nidra yoga. So we all love Nidra yoga, but that is some kind of tamasic nature, which is also needed, which is the great part of our embodied state, yeah? Without which we will not survive. There would be no embodiment. But pramada is something like, it's very close to the same word as mad, mad mada, to be mad, to be excited, to be also pramada, to be excited forward means becoming negligent. Yeah, negligence from here, kind of this, how to say, mm, not paying attention to all the details, being so focused on your desire, being so taken by the desire that you become negligent about the obstacles, about context, and so on. So you just go for what you want in spite of all things around you. Alasya is actually laziness. So negligence, laziness, and nidra, sleepiness. These are the three binding qualities of tamas guna. Yeah. Well, it's quite obvious. We know this from experience.
Yes.
And then, sattvam sukhe sanjayati rajah karmani bharata. Interesting. Sanjayati, some kind of conquers totally. Jnanam avritya tu tamah pramade sanjayatyata. One day Sri Aurobindo attaches to happiness. Okay, we can translate attaches. So sattva attaches itself to sukha, to happiness. Rajas attaches itself to action, activity. And tamas, covering the self-knowledge, attaches itself to this negligence, or I don't know how to put it otherwise. Pramada is so loaded term. Yeah, negligence is the best, I
Yeah.
guess. In Taittiriya, there is the whole section on this. Yeah, Ma pramaditavyam. Yes, dog, you want to say something?
Yeah, two questions. The first on the first two verses that you read today. Yoni is normally translated as either any one or of the feminine generative organs or all together, or it's translated as cause. I am the cause of this or that. I was a little surprised by your translation of location. Is that kind of in a causal sense? That's where you start
No,
out?
you are talking about yoni, yes?
Yes.
Yoni is interesting word, yeah, because it
Mhm.
is womb in which we are born. It's kind of it's in the mother's womb. Yeah, that is, and womb is the symbol of the universe. We are all in the mother's womb in a way, and it is from root yu, to actually to yoke, to unite, to hold within the duality. Huh? And that is why I say location. I'm looking for always for better words.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. In that sense, it would be like Hiranyagarbha, which is kind of the location, but the cosmic egg as well.
Yeah, Hiranyagarbha is the very thing, yeah, which is in the womb. The womb is holding the Hiranyagarbha. It's something like the universe, the location in which everything is held. Yeah? It
Yeah.
is in this lower manifestation, it is the night, which is considered to be the yoni, yeah, which holds all the embodied beings here. In
Then
the
the other, go ahead.
yeah,
Then the other question was on the what's the cause of all these three is Kama Esha, Krodha Esha. It seems that the Gita is putting precedence on Rajoguna
yeah,
as the worst culprit, rather than a balance of all three or imbalance of any one of the three.
yes,
I think that Mother said that the physical, the tamasic, most tamasic side of the manifest is the slowest to wake up, the least receptive to the supramental. So that would place the onus, or it would make the tamasic tamoguna as the most difficult to bring around.
yeah. There is something about Rajas Guna, which is when it is kept not in check. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then it becomes a very big problem. So if you let it go and possess you, then you are driven by pure energy of hate or, desire, lust.
Mhm.
You can't see anything but that object of your desire. And that's why in this section which you were quoting, Kama Esha, Krodha Esha, Rajoguna, Samudbhavah, it appears from Rajaguna. The Kama and Krodha, the desire and anger. And at the end he says, Jahi Shatrum, kill this enemy, oh great and armed Kama Rupam Durasadam, this taking form of Kama, of desire, difficult to satiate or to realize, to fulfill. So the Kama cannot be fulfilled ever. It's always driven by some energy, more energy, more energy, more power. Yeah. There is a beautiful passage in Dhammapada. Even the rain of golden coins cannot satisfy the desire. You can't really satisfy it. Once it is there, possessing you, you will be driven more and more. So he proposes to him to kill this enemy and to get out of this excessive possession by Rajas Guna.
Yeah. So do you think that taking that verse, killing desire, as the taking it
desire
out of Kamesha, Krodesha, Rajoguna, Samudbhavam, Mahashano, Mahapatma, Vidyanamiha, Vairina. This is the enemy. Yeah, but taking that out of context has been used to justify the renunciation, denial of the relative, denial of the world. If you take it out of context, it sounds like purely Advaitic denial of the world.
Right. Vairagya, yes, in this viraga.
Yeah.
So
Right,
being
exactly.
free from raga,
Exactly, Vairagya.
It is, I think it is in both ways dangerous. Yeah.
Mhm.
Either you put it down totally, Rajaguna, out of balance into the other direction, Vairagya, totally kill it, destroy Rajas Guna, which is impossible. Yeah. You can destroy
Mm.
the desire, yes, but not Rajas Guna. We need to act, yeah? But it
Right.
has to be in check with other gunas. It has to be in equilibrium in some way.
Right. It can only be controlled by um,
Yes, by the
putting
balance
the
of
but
other,
by the inner renunciation.
or
Right.
yes,
Yeah,
or
which
that what
is
you say.
one of the biggest points of Sri Aurobindo's essays on the Gita.
Right. There are two ways of controlling it. One is by the soul awakened, and this is the best way to control all the gunas.
Mhm.
And the other is to start balancing the gunas by the nature of Prakriti, by Prakriti
Mhm.
itself. You can balance yourself to the extent that you will have a chance to discover your inner being.
Mm.
So that's what he was telling us in Krishna. You remember, neither excessive sleep, no excessive
Right.
work.
A
You
good
remember this?
illustration. Yeah.
Yes, this is the middle path, which is so needed in order to find yourself in every activity.
Mhm.
Otherwise, there will be always some bewilderment, either by laziness or by overworking or by anything, yeah? Or by happiness and knowledge also. It's also a problem. Believe me, I know by experience. You can stay in the happy state for long and stagnate because you don't really let other energies work. You don't want to, you are lazy, you're becoming lazy physically, sick, and so on. You need to walk, to work in the garden, do something physical. At the same time, you cannot be only man of, sitting and meditating. It
Mhm.
doesn't work that way. Mm. And even rest needed, yes, relaxation. Little tamas is also good for the body. And nidra yoga helps. It's amazing. So we are looking at ourselves differently now. Yeah?
Mhm.
Everything is divine, only it has to find its proper place. Yeah, but thank you for these clarifications. Yeah. So there are attachments. So the sattva is attached to happiness, rajas to the activity, action, and tamas um, to the negligence. And this negligence is an interesting thing. It makes me think in certain cases, yeah, I can find it and see it when people are, how to say, we call it in Russian, um, without boundaries, They allow themselves things which which are dharmically are not welcome. So they go beyond any dharmic acquisition, application. And so they allow themselves to be bewildered and excessive in this bewilderment, negligent. Yeah? And this is something very interesting. This is a feature of some criminals also, and people who enjoy that freedom of desire or whatever it is, yeah, freedom of whatever. So there is some kind of very low tamasic consciousness which allows this. And which is needed for the nature, definitely, to function. But when it is not in check, when it is overtaking other gunas, then it becomes dangerous. Like everything else. And then he explains very beautifully. Rajas tamah cha bhibhuya sattva bhavati bharata. Rajah sattvam tamascheva tamah sattvam rajas tatha. Now, When sattva leads, having overpowered rajas and tamas, now sattva leads, having overpowered rajas and tamas of Bharata. Now rajas having overpowered sattva and tamas. Now tamas having overpowered sattva and rajas. So this is a constant tapestry of balancing powers. And so in order for sattva to appear, it has to overtake rajas and tamas. Yeah? And in order for rajas to be excessive, it has to overpower the sattva and tamas. And for the tamas to overpower everyone and everything, sattva and rajas have to be diminished or overtaken by tamas. So this is how it happens. There's no other way for this to overtake us. These other qualities have to be diminished. Sri Aurobindo says the best quality for us and for our yoga would be sattva and rajas. A rajasic sattva, as it were. We need activity and we need equilibrium. We need happy activity. Well, that's what we need.
Could you possibly describe Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas as really all three being unconscious? It's kind of like happiness is unconscious joy, and a lot of activity is, what would you call that? Well, unconscious movement would be desire.
Like
and then unconscious rajas would be just not being aware of, tamas would be just not being aware of hardly anything at all. Isn't
I really like what you said. Truly speaking, it is unconscious.
Yes.
Because it's managed by Prakriti, and even in our course on sleep, being conscious sleep, we discussed that we love to fall unconscious. We want to fall into tamas. There is some kind of gravitation towards forgetting oneself, towards this negligence, to neglect everything, all the troubles, all the plans which you made for your life. Everything can be forgotten for a while. You can rest finally. So you see how it is needed. Yeah.
Right. Oh boy. So true.
You could say that we love unconsciousness so much we consciously look for it. When we go into any form of escapism, whether it's drugs or alcohol or just really loud music and dancing our heads off in a rave, or these things where we want to have sensory impressions that overpower our other awareness. So it's a kind of we want to be aware of not being aware of the painful things.
Right. I think the gunas are overpowering, yes, in a way. It's nothing but overtaking Purusha's awareness, which he delegated to Prakriti. She takes his awareness and starts shaping with these gunas. Yeah? So either we fall into rest total and forgetfulness, or we become very active. We want to be active. There's something in us wants to run, and especially when we are young, we want to run. We look at our children running and non-stop. It's just, you just wonder what is going on. Jumping. My son was running through we had only one room, very small apartment, and he was running through this room the whole day, from one corner to another, on the armchair, down to the corner, to the armchair, down, and it was unbelievable. Just so much energy, so like a lion in the cage.
So you're
So
saying that the soul can express itself when the gunas are balanced. It's when they're out of balance that the vairagya is most needed. The vairagya you mentioned is that one of the two ways of achieving it is through balancing the gunas. It's just like balancing um, the three doshas in Ayurveda.
right, vairagya can be dangerous because it can generate a lot of tamas, yes, which
Yeah,
is the case for all
yeah,
spiritual seekers, as we know,
right.
yes.
Uh-huh.
When we go into meditation, we fall asleep happily, and then you can hear people snoring in meditation very happily. But this is exactly the problem. Once you reduce the activity, there are two choices: either sattva, and that's
Mhm.
what we try to generate in our course on sleep, is that you, in spite of your body is resting in tamasic rest, so to say, your consciousness is not falling into tamas. Yeah? It kind of awakens in sattva within. By the way, this is the way how Sri Aurobindo describes the meditation, exactly in this way, that you fall asleep outwardly, but inwardly you don't. And this is the best meditation. So you rest outwardly, but inwardly you are aware of yourself,
Yes.
which is quite a difficult task because the only rest we know is to be totally unconscious, to switch off. So the moment we start pacifying our outer activities, karma, rajas, we pacify rajas and we fall into tamas. This is, by the, yeah. No? By
Yeah.
the way, there was a very beautiful description uh, in the occultism of these three gunas. Occultism has also three gunas. They are called three letters of the mother. Aleph, Aleph, the first letter of Hebrew alphabet, and then Mem and Shin. So the first, 13th, and 21st letter of the alphabet. Notice sacred numbers 1, 13, and 21. So the one is the one. This is equilibrium. Interesting. Huh? That very equilibrium through which we can arrive at our soul awareness. And the Mem, 13, is the letter of death, and tamas, total dissolution and forgetfulness. And the letter 21 is the fire, shin, radiation is rajas guna, the power of creation. So they explain it in a very simple way. If you take water and put it on fire, it will evaporate. Yeah? Water tamas, fire rajas. If you combine them, put water on fire, it will evaporate, and this is sattva.
Mm. Mm.
It's just a very symbolic description of the same processes in nature, and with us also, with our characters and states of consciousness. So here the same story, and moreover in this triangle of Fabre d'Olivier is quite interesting. These three gunas, the sattva is on the top and rajas and tamas are in opposition to each other. They are always fighting. So water, tamasic, and fire, rajasic, are constantly in opposition, creating everything else in the world, all the states. Yeah, the total tamas, darkness on one side, and total fire, kind of energy on the other, combined give us the world. This is the ancient vision also of the Veda, of the Agni and Soma. Yeah? These are two major elements which create the world. And these three are also explained differently, very interestingly, and maybe I should say a few words about this in occultism. And that is that the fire is the free will of individual. on one side. This is free will. On the other side, the rock, the circumstances, the karma, which is determining the free will, constantly rejecting, obstructing every free will possible from individuals. And on the top, we have providence. And providence is the divine participation in either free will of the individual or karmic consequences. So rock, they call it. So on one side free will, on the other rock, and on the top is providence. So when providence stands on the side of free will, it has a power to conquer the karma, the destiny, the fate, so to say. If providence stands on the side of the karma, of the destiny, then there is hardly any chance for free will to win the battle.
What's the name of the triangle?
Triangle, the Fabre d'Olivier. Fabre d'Olivier was such a mystic from the 18th century. These are Christian mystics, who are studying the Kabbalah, Kabbalistic approach. In my youth, I studied all of them, whatever I could find, because I started my journey from them. So that's why I know. So, and then I came to this grand knowledge, and then I never needed them again. But it's interesting to make a comparison because it's very similar, if not the same even.
Antoine Fabre d'Olivier.
The triangle of Fabre d'Olivier, of karma, free will, and providence. Right. And we see it also thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. We see the same process in the mind, in the vital, in the physical. So it is the law of oppositions which creates something third always. It's a general law of nature. Because these are three gunas, again. We have only three gunas to operate with. There are no more. All the combinations of these three create all the varieties of states of being and all the beings. It's amazing. Three are enough. We don't need more. Okay, and there is one more verse. Sarvadvareshu dehesmin prakasha upajayate jnanam yada tada vidyat vivridham sattvam ityata. When all the doors in the body, there comes a flooding of light into all the doors in the body. There comes a flooding of light, a light of understanding, perception, and knowledge. One should understand that there has been a great increase and uprising of the sattvic guna in the nature. That's it. There is no spiritual experience. There is just the light increasing in the body, in the bodies, in the mind, vital and physical. So we feel happy, we feel knowledgeable, we feel meaningful. Finally, everything makes sense. We call it an experience, but truly speaking, this is the experience of the nature. In all the doors, sarvadvareshu, dehesmin, in this body, prakasha upajayate, when the prakasha, when the light is increasing or being born, jnanam yada, when knowledge, tada, vidya, then vidya, vidyat, vivridham. I will have to check for this on the text. Because vidya is usually feminine gender. We have a print here from somewhere which I borrowed. Sorry for this. I will check for this with my book. Yes, the same.
So you're saying the vidyat here is not feminine?
Yeah, Vidyat here is not feminine. It is the optative. Sorry. One should
Oh,
know.
okay. Yeah,
Then one should know Vivridham Sattvam. One should know the growth of Sattva. Sorry, I mistook it for the noun, and it is the verb.
right.
Optative.
The Sarva Dwareshu, the doors, normally those are taken as the senses, right?
Yes.
So he's saying when all the senses are flooded with light.
Yes.
Okay, so he's just taking that in the ordinary sense of the senses, well, maybe
All the
including the
dvaras.
mind. The mind would be a sense also because you think of the light that comes from meditation. I don't think of it as primarily a sensory experience. It's the internal. We think of the senses as being external, although maybe this is just the internal aspect of the senses. As an aspect of the senses that's normally forgotten for the unenlightened anyway.
Right. So dvaras are usually, it's an ancient Upanishadic view on the body that we have 9 openings to the world. Yeah, if you count eyes, nostrils, all the openings to the world.
Yeah.
It includes all the jnanendriyas mainly and karmendriyas also, because karmendriyas are also openings. Yeah. So all the senses, so to say, karmendriyas and jnanendriyas, when they are overflooded with light, then there is an increase of knowledge and the growth of sattva. And then lobhah, pravriti, arambhah, karmanam, ashamah, spreha, so many terms, very interesting. Rajasi etani jayante, vivridhe bharatarshabha. Greed, seeking impulsions, pravriti arambhah, initiative of consciousness, unrest ashamah, arambhah karmanam, most probably, lobha pravritti, arambhah karmanam, ashamah, spriha, unrest, desire. Spriha is another word for desire. We had trishna, the thirst. We have spriha, also kind of aspiration or thirst rather, lust, or and kama, the last, the sexual desire mainly. All this mounts in us when the rajas increases. Rajasi etani jayante. They are all born in the rajas. Vivridhe, when it grows. When rajas grows, they are increasing. And that is lobha, greed. Lobha is not totally greed. It is more like strong desire to, or even obsession of some kind, to get where you want to get. Yeah. So to say, I will be there in spite of everything. I will do everything for this. This is the Rajas Guna is increasing. Pravritti is constant activity. Activity which is actually reflexive rather than conscious. I liked today this definition. It's all unconscious activities, of all 3 gunas. So, and beginning of all the actions, beginning. I will start this, I will do this. This is rajas. Mainly people of vata nature, they are of this kind. In Ayurvedic terms, yes. Who have a lot of vata, they start a lot of actions and they are not very responsible to finish them. Because there is no time, you have to start another action. I am like that. I start a lot of actions. I have vata in me. And always I'm criticized by Radhe because she is more like Pitta. She is more regular activity. Yeah. So we are good combination. Water and fire and rajas and sattva in a way. So karmanam arambhach ashamach unrest spreha, the desire, rajas etani jayanti vivriddhe, and when rajas increases, rajasi vivriddhe is locativus absolutus, these are born, etani jayanti. And then tamas, the last one, the last definition, aprakasho, apravrittih, pramadach, moha evacha, tamasi etani jayanti vivriddhe kurunandana.
Can I ask a question,
Yeah.
Vlad? What is that alphabet right in front of Pravritti Shrav? Just in front of that word, right there?
Oh, this is avagraha. Avagraha shows that a is dropped, yeah, short a. So it is aprakasha apravrittih, yeah? But it drops because of sandhi, aprakasho pravrittischa, but actually it's aprakashach apravrittihcha. Yeah, but it drops, and for the meter's sake, here we have 8 syllables here instead of, otherwise it will be 9 syllables.
Okay.
It will break the flow of anushtup or shlok. So aprakasha and apravritti, these are the qualities which are rising in tamas. Pramadach and moha, 4 qualities. Nescience, that's how Sri Aurobindo translates aprakasha, literally absence of light or illumination, some kind of darkness, or rather absence of any clarity. Inertia, apravritti, no movement. Negligence, pramada, or carelessness. Oh, this is the word I was looking for. Carelessness, not negligence. I am careless, whatever happens, whatever the word. And moha, bewilderment, delusion, Sri Aurobindo translates. Some kind of, I'm in this state of delusion, believing in something which makes no sense. Yeah, we can trace them back to our activities. These are very significant indications for our nature. Okay, we can stop here at 13, number 13, and we'll start from 14 next time. We will read maybe a few more things from Sri Aurobindo. Otherwise it becomes too much, I guess. So if you want to say something or to share, you're most welcome. I was thinking of the gunas in terms of how what Krishna says, that we are managed by Prakriti. We are bewildered by Prakriti and we do not know ourselves. And Prakriti is doing everything and Purusha is only a witness. So this freedom from the actor is actually here in this, in understanding how nature works. Okay, there was a lot of energy spent. Now it needs rest. Now, okay, rest is enough. You cannot rest more. There is a need in energy to spend. So you wake up in the morning with morning together, yeah? And you think you wake up, yeah? You think you rested enough, yeah? No, it's not you. It's nature. Otherwise, you may stay forever there in that the bed happily. But no, you must get up. And then after all those activities and rest, you need some happiness, some equilibrium somewhere, some knowledge. You're looking for those elements in your life. You're reading some books. You're joining some courses and so on. Go to Auroville. looking for something. You're looking for that what nature wants you to find, and so gives you the material to choose from. Of course, there is the soul behind all this, but still the material and choices and everything is proposed to you by Prakriti. So this is how she is managing us, how she is managing Purusha here, by the gunas. She doesn't mind any activity. She doesn't choose between what you would drink, coffee with 1 sugar or tea with 2 sugars. You know, it doesn't, for her, doesn't matter. Matters that you will now be in the active state of particular kind, and whatever you eat, you eat. Yeah. And there are some choices given to you, yes, in your capacity to acquire that food and so on, and to cook and time-wise and so on. So everything is very complex. She is our manager.
So we have to build a harmony in all these balances. We have to balance it and build a harmony in us,
Yeah.
so that we can develop a conscious attitude towards our life.
Yes.
Yeah, harmony. Everybody tries to build the harmony by the gunas, yes, by the nature. So in the morning you are this doing breakfast, and then you go to work, then you come home, then you go there. So we distribute our time in such a way that we want to live harmonious and happy life in equilibrium, all of us in the world. Yeah? But the
Yes.
purpose is a bit different. Not only this, but we have to find ourselves. So, okay, when harmony is established, what then? Yeah? So then we become attached to this harmony, to our comforts, to our ways of living. I want only this. No, sorry, I will not go there because I value my harmony. So then you become actually a useless person in a way, because you don't do the meaning of life. You don't search for yourself. That's why somehow nature creates these havocs for us, turmoils, that in that moment of some kind of disequilibrium, you will question everything. Why did you give me this trouble? Why should I go through these hardships? And then you will look for some deeper meaning. It's complex. Yeah? So to say, harmony is not the only answer. It's one of the answers. And after all those turmoils and havocs, we need some harmony. We need some rest. So we seek it and we establish it again on another level with deeper understanding.
So Vladimir, can we say that the psychic being within us is sort of influencing us so that we seek for this harmony? I mean, is that its role at this point, or are we? I mean, where does the change come? I mean, we can witness our prakriti in action and controlling that some, but where does the actual change come from?
Yeah, I guess the answer is in the Gita, when we see that we are not the actor, that nature does everything for us. If we arrive at that state, there will be a glimpse of our true consciousness in us. And I guess that would be the discovery, yes, of the unborn self and inborn self. You're kind of pointing towards the psychic. I don't see much here. Psychic is connected to bhakti more, and the heart and love towards the divine, which is the crown of this yoga. But now we are in jnana yoga, in that kind of finding that consciousness which is witnessing all the activities of nature and how nature acts with us included. And then with this knowledge and with our karma yogic effort, there must be some kind of a glimpse of bhakti. Yeah. I think that should be the result of it rather than the driving force. Many people claim that they are driven by psychic power, but I'm not sure that that is really the truth. Yeah? Speaking about myself the same way, I would never claim that I'm driven by psychic, even if I can feel that there is something coming to you, or you are in the grace or something. Yes, but that your actions are determined by your psychic, it is a lot to claim. Yeah?
Yes, it certainly is. And you can see in some people's lives how their psychic being arranges certain circumstances for them. You know, for example, discovery of Sri Aurobindo and the mother, discovery of the yoga. But then to feel that one is truly driven by the psychic is another matter, I think.
Well said.
Yeah, absolutely. And one day, when we are kind of in the transition, we may have a glimpse what has happened, what was psychic in our incarnation. Yes, this movement, that movement. We have kind of a shadow of memory of these movements in our life. We know. We can't forget those moments in childhood or later in our youth. There was a moment, psychic moment. Yeah. So we know when we were correlated by that psychic spark somewhere. But to say that you are kind of driven or guided by psychic, totally, it would be a little bit a stretch.
Given the importance that you're putting on harmony, I'm surprised that I don't see a common Sanskrit word we use to express that. You know, sandhya and yoga both imply some kind of harmony. But when we just want to emphasize that balance of the gunas, is there a particular word for that?
This is, yeah, samatvam, the equality, equanimity.
Yeah, samatvam. And then in music, raga, which has a very different sense than
right,
the way
it is
it's
a
used
different
in
raga.
the Gita.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's already a topic, a theme, a melody of some kind, yes,
Yeah.
which is harmonious within that theme, you know, or that melody, that particular modality of consciousness. But harmony, it's an interesting thing because there is no word for harmony in Sanskrit.
Samasta. Yeah.
Yeah, being together, samashti, or whatever they call
As
it.
you said, samatva.
Samatva, sama, sameness, yes.
Yeah.
Samanyam, something of the sameness, but it belongs to the mind. Yeah? Not to the vital harmony. In the vital harmony, it is something else, most probably. I was trying to find this word before several times, and I couldn't. Many people ask me, how would be harmony in Sanskrit? It's interesting. There is no word for it. Yeah?
When you say Sayuja, Shadrishya, Salokya,
Something.
you know, all these taken individually and together, they imply something of that.
Yes, something of, you see, Sanskrit is very, how to say, practical, yeah, extremely practical.
Yeah.
I was translating once the speeches of Kirit Joshi into Sanskrit, and mothers also. And I was so kind of frustrated that I couldn't translate whole phrases, you know, like sooner rather than later. I couldn't find any equivalent because these are phrases, they are more like feelings of some kind, you know. So there are no such equivalents. Sanskrit is very concrete. And if you say something about like harmony, you have to say harmony of what? The same, I was giving example of love. There is no love word, you know. There are so many words for love, and all of them are very concrete. It's not like I love you, whatever it means. Nobody knows what I love you means, because it may mean anything and everything. Yeah? But in Sanskrit, it's very clear. You cannot say I love you without other person knowing exactly what you mean. It's amazing. Yeah. So it's
I just,
yeah.
I just like to express a little bit of what I've been trying to accomplish with harmony. And one of Mother's most beautiful statements was that, and I'm sure she means the psychic by this, all the movements of the inner being must be spontaneous movements with the spontaneity that comes from an inner harmony, a deeper truth, the source of the being. And so that's kind of what I've been, and when someone mentioned music, that just really helped me, because that's what I've been, you know, that's the flow, the movement, I guess, would be out of the psychic, would be this flow of harmony of, you know, that's pretty much all I'm just trying to fit this into my daily activity, which is really, really been a very, very difficult process for me.
Yeah. But when we speak harmony, we say harmony, we usually mean a very interesting thing. It is the unison, or the sounds, yeah, sounds matching together in one harmonic sound. Yeah, that's what we mean by harmony. And then we extend this meaning onto many, many other things like harmonious visions, colors, shapes, pictures, architecture, and so on. So, but it is coming from mainly from the sound. Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, but you could think of the supramental harmony as a central characteristic without which you cannot have supramental, because the supramental takes the contrast, takes all the differences and uses them so that they all have a value, and so they all have a place, and they are needed. So there's no soul on earth which does not have a special purpose in being here, no matter how low and vile and corrupt he may seem to us. That's only to our limited vision, not the supramental vision. And the supramental vision, everything is necessary and there to achieve that cosmic purpose.
Yeah, yeah. If I give you some, I just opened the dictionary especially for this, to give you what dictionary gives, and you will be surprised. Yeah, samvadita. Samvadita is something which is sounding together. Yeah, this sounding together is harmony, but this is not really harmony we are talking about. Yeah, we are not talking about the harmony of the sounds. Yeah. We mean something more than that. Yeah? Or avirodha. Avirodha is something which is not obstructing. There are no obstructions within. Sahachara, going together. I'm just translating literally the words, yeah, which are chosen by the dictionary for harmony. None of them fits. Sammatich, thinking together. You know? Again. Some vittich. Vitti is finding or discovering together. Sampat. Sampat is another word for harmony, kind of the state together, or wealth also.
Having fallen together.
Right. Raga is also for harmony. Sangama. Sangama, coming together in harmony. So there are 25 words for aikya, oneness. And so on. Samhanana, Samhanana beating things together into one spot. Yeah. But these are all very dispersed meanings, because I know the original meaning, how they arrive at this. They are building up the meaning of harmony. It is not that. Yeah? So the closest most probably will be equality, equanimity, and in their higher sense, yeah? Where all the elements can stay together happily and interact without obstruction. Yeah, all right. We are a little over time as usual. Somehow we are always carried away a bit at the end. But thank you for these nice questions and insights on the gunas. It was lovely. This is unconscious dealings of Purusha with states of consciousness. That's exactly what gunas do. They make us unconscious. We think we are the gunas. That's me who feels the state, the need, the hunger. It's me who is hungry. And this is the unconscious management by nature. All right, I will close with mantra. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santo Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. This is the mantra of harmony, if you think of, yes. Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, may all be happy. Sarve santu niramaya, may all be without any disease, always healthy. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu, may all see only beautiful things. This is the harmony. And
Where is this mantra from?
it is from Jaiminiya Upanishad Brahmana.
I think quite a lot of the peace mantras, Sahana Bhavatu, Sahana Punaktu.
Also, the harmony, absolutely. Ma vidvishavahai, may we'll never hate each other. It's again another harmony. I think the whole Sanskrit literature works for harmony in that sense, as we call one word. It's like love, we mean so many things with this word, but they are very particular, and in every way they speak about harmony in different way. All right, so all the best, and see you then next time. See you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste.